Alright, you lot. You ever get that feeling world's gone completely off its rocker? Like common sense packed its bags and buggered off to some remote island? Well, strap in, cause we're about to dive into some unfiltered, no-holds-barred truth bombs about gaming, entertainment, and why everything's gone so soft that it makes marshmallow look like a bloody diamond. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow. Hit that notification bell too, so you don't miss out on future rants, raves and occasional explosions of sarcasm. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. Nah, let's crack on, shall we? Alright, let's dive straight into it. No messing about. Here's the thing. When hell did gaming lose its edge? You remember days when Call of Duty Lobby were a battlefield in itself? Not just gameplay, but in verbal warfare, where trash talk wasn't just acceptable, it were expected.
I'm sitting here drinking right now. I got the right to say what the fuck I want to say. What the fuck? I'm supposed to be quiet like you little bitch-ass motherfuckers while you got a microphone on. Say what the fuck you want to say. Say what's on your mind. What do you want to say? You fucking nigger? You say it, man. Be a man about it.
Shut the fuck.
Be a motherfucking man about it. Say white power. Say it. White power.
White motherfucking power. Now shut
White
the fuck
power
up.
then. God damn it. White power, bitch.
Yeah, white power. Shut the
Why
fuck
you got a
up.
microphone and you telling people to shut the fuck up? Why you got it, bitch? You waste all your mother money and shit, and you don't talk on it, bitch. What you want to talk to your goddamn little gay ass friends when they online with you? They ain't online with you now, is it? They ain't talking about dicks and shit. Shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. I'll come over your house and kick motherfucking Xbox to the floor.
Yeah, that's how you come over.
Your address?
It were a rite of passage. You got called a noob, you told them to ask their mum for tips, and world kept spinning. Nah. Now you said boo, and suddenly you're public enemy number one. Chat bans, AI moderators, some wet lettuce somewhere sobbing into the soy latte cause you hurt the feelings. Let's talk about this bloody AI moderation for a second. It's a joke, innit? It's trying to be Terminator but ends up acting like a neurotic babysitter. It don't understand nuance, context, or even banter. I saw a clip other day someone got banned for saying hello in wrong tone. Alright, that might be a slight exaggeration, but it's not far off. We've gone from mute and block buttons, perfectly functional tools mind you, to this over-policed nonsense where everything you say gets dissected like a GCSE English essay. It's like solar gaming has been ripped out and replaced with a bloody safe space sign. Whatever happened to having a laugh, taking piss out of each other, and moving on? No, not anymore. Now you've got snowflakes who think get good scrub is a hate crime. Honestly, it's pathetic. Gaming's supposed to be gritty, raw, full of adrenaline, not this watered-down, family-friendly drivel they're shoving down our throats. Let me be clear, I'm not saying we should go back to people screeching in lobbies like banshees on helium, but there's a balance, right? Bit of banter, bit of rivalry, that's spice of gaming. But no, instead we get this sterile, over-sanitised nonsense where the only thing scarier than losing is offending someone. And for what? Keep advertisers happy? Cater to kids who shouldn't even be in these games in first place? It's madness, and it's killing fun for the rest of us. Let's take a close look at what happened to online gaming communities. Remember when multiplayer games were about forging rivalries, making friends, or sometimes just winding up opposition for a laugh? You had freedom to be yourself, unfiltered, raw, and unapologetically human. Nowadays though, second you step out of line, boom, chat ban, account warning, maybe even a full-on suspension. Why? Because someone got their fragile feelings bruised. Take Call of Duty for example, once a gritty, adrenaline-fueled FPS masterpiece. It's now become a bloody daycare centre for hypersensitive players. AI moderation is about as reliable as a broken umbrella in Hurricane. Banning people for what? Cheeky bit of trash talk? Sarcastic quip? Laughable. System don't even know the difference between banter and abuse, so everyone gets lumped into the same bucket. And worst part? Completely inconsistent. You got players running around with mics blaring god-awful mumble rap or the bloody smoke alarms beeping every 30 seconds, Those people get to stay, but guy who says nice shot noob gets axe. Make it make sense. It's not moderation, it's a bloody farce. If all AI should ban people with broken smoke alarms or that knobhead who insists on chewing directly into the mic. Priorities, right? Don't even get me started on how this nonsense impacts gameplay. Half of fun and multiplayer games want unpredictability, randomness or interacting with other players. You might make a new friend, form an alliance, or even end up in a heated rivalry that spans several matches. Nah, everyone's walking on eggshells, too scared to say out in case someone reported them for offensive behaviour. Human connection's gone. We're just faceless drones grinding away in lobbies where only communication is awkward silence or pre-approved emotes. It's not just killing banter, it's killing solar gaming. You know what I miss? Wild West days of gaming, where lobbies were chaotic but fun. Sure, there were moments where people crossed line, but that's what mutant block buttons were for. You didn't need some overbearing AI babysitter dictating what were acceptable. You handled it yourself, like an adult. It's what gaming should be. Raw, unpredictable, and full of personality. Not this sterile corporate-controlled sludge we're stuck with now. And don't think this is just about gaming either. This let's censor everything to avoid offence attitude is bleeding into every corner of entertainment. Movies, TV shows, even comedy. It's all getting neutered to cater to people who can't handle slightest bit of discomfort. It's pathetic, and it's killing creativity. Now it's time to point finger at real culprits, game publishers and developers. You know, ones who sit in the boardrooms sipping overpriced lattes, making decisions that systematically suck soul out of gaming. These are people who took what we loved and turned it into a glorified money printing machine, all while pretending they're doing us a favour. Let's talk about microtransactions first, because honestly, I can't bring this up enough. Remember when you bought a game and that were it? You paid your money, got full experience, and maybe, just maybe, there was some actual DLC down the line that added meaningful content. Now you get half a game and a bloody storefront shoved in your face second they boot it up. Want that cool skin? That gun blueprint? That operator who looks like they're cosplaying as Mad Max? That'll be 20 quid, please. It's not just skins and cosmetics though, is it? No, they've gone deeper. They've figured out how to monetize progression itself. Battle passes, pay-to-win mechanics, loot boxes disguised as surprise mechanics. It's all designed to squeeze every last penny out of you, turning gaming into a bloody subscription service. And here's kicker. They've got audacity to make you grind for hours just to unlock stuff that used to be included for free. Don't want to grind? That's alright, just whip out your credit card and skip queue. Capitalism at its finest. And let's not ignore elephant in room, skill-based matchmaking, or as I like to call it, forced fun. Oh, you're doing well, winning games, having a laugh with your mates. Not anymore, you're not. Algorithms here to make sure you're paired with sweats who play like their lives depend on it. It's not about giving you a good experience, it's about keeping you engaged just enough to stick around. You win some, you lose some, you get frustrated, and maybe you drop a few quid on a shiny new weapon blueprint to ease pain. It's all bloody manipulation, plain and simple. But let's not stop there. Let's talk about how they've turned every multiplayer game into a bloody slot machine. Ever noticed how matches where you're doing well seem to come to a grinding halt second you're about to rank up? Or how loot drops conveniently get worse right when you're on a streak? It's all designed to mess with you psychologically, to keep you chasing that high. And worst part? People accept it. They bend over backwards to defend these practices, saying it's just where industry is now. Bollocks. And cherry on top of this crap cake, absolute lack of accountability. Bugs, glitches, game-breaking exploits. They get shit with game because publishers would rather rush release and rake in cash than take time and polish product. I will fix it in a patch, they say, as if that's supposed to be acceptable. Imagine buying a car and being told, brakes don't work, but don't worry, we'll sort that out on next update. You'd lose your mind. Bring gaming, we've somehow been conditioned to put up with it. Look, I get it, games cost more to make these days. Budgets are astronomical, and pressure to turn a profit is immense. But there's a line, and they've not just crossed it, they're pissed all over it. Gaming used to be about passion, creativity, and community. Now it's about squeezing every drop of cash from player base while delivering bare minimum. Now let's talk about us, players. Yeah, it's time to turn mirror around, because if we're gonna be honest, we're not exactly innocent in all this. State of gaming today, we let it happen. Remember when microtransactions first started creeping in? Horse armor in Oblivion, anyone? People complained, sure, but then they paid for it anyway. And that's problem, innit? We moan and groan about greedy practices, but then turn around and buy 20 quid cosmetic bundle cause it looks cool, or I want to support devs. Support devs? Mate, devs don't see a penny of that. You're funding publishers' next private jet, not people actually making bloody game. And let's talk about pre-orders, possibly the most idiotic thing we still do as gamers. How many times have you pre-ordered a game only to end up disappointed because it were broken mess on release? Cyberpunk 2077, Battlefield 2042, No Man's Sky at launch. List goes on. But do we learn? Do we hell? Publishers dangle a shiny pre-order bonus and we're like magpies snatching at scraps of tinfoil. Oh, a special skin, I need that. No, you don't. What you need is a functioning game on day one. And you're not going to get it if you keep handing over your cash before the game's even out. Now let's not forget snowflakes. Oh, they're a special breed, aren't they? Ones who'll report you for calling them a noob or daring to use sarcasm in voice chat. The ones who've turned gaming into this over-moderated, sterile mess we're stuck in now. They couldn't handle at old-school lobbies, so instead of muting people and growing thicker skin, they cried to developers until everyone got silenced. Cheers for that. But here's the thing. All of this, microtransactions, pre-orders, censorship, it only works because we let it work. Every time we open our wallets for a half-baked game or shiny new skin, we're telling publishers, this is fine. Every time we defend the shady practices or report someone for harmless banter, we're tightening noose around the neck of what gaming used to be. So what's the solution? Well, first off, stop giving them money for crap they don't deserve. Don't pre-order games. Don't buy battle passes or overpriced skins. Vote with your wallets, cause believe me, no makes companies listen faster than a dip in profits. Secondly, grow a fucking backbone. Someone hurts your feelings in a lobby, mute them. Don't run crying to devs like you've been personally victimised. And finally, demand better. Hold these companies accountable. Stop settling for mediocrity. We've got power to change industry, but it's going to take all of us to do it. Question is, are we actually willing to put in effort, or are we just going to keep whining while handing over our money? Food for thought, eh? Right then, let's talk about how gaming's identity is being flushed down the bloody toilet in this desperate attempt to please everyone. Because that's real problem, innit? Instead of staying true to the roots, developers and publishers are bending over backwards to cater to every possible audience. And in doing so, they've managed to alienate very people who kept them alive in the first place. You know what I mean? It's the same story across board. Games that were once bold, gritty and unapologetic are now watered down to appeal to the widest audience possible. They want to hook hardcore gamers, but they also want to attract casuals. They want to cater to adults, but also make sure little Timmy can join without mummy writing an angry letter to ESRB. Result? Bland, safe, soulless experiences that try to be everything to everyone and end up being naught to anyone. Take Call of Duty, again. Because let's face it, it's poster child for this nonsense. Franchise were once synonymous with gritty, mature content. It wasn't just a game, it were a cultural phenomenon. Nah, it's like they're trying to sell you a family-friendly action flick. Campaigns are forgettable. Multiplayer's so sanitised it feels like you're playing in a daycare. And creative risks? Non-existent. They're too scared to piss anyone off, so they play it safe. And in doing so, they've lost what made franchise so special. Don't even get me started on how they're designing the game to be accessible to everyone. Accessibility is good when it's done right, like adding options for players with disabilities. That's progress, and I'm all for it. But when accessibility becomes a buzzword for dumbing down mechanics, simplifying gameplay and removing skill gaps, that's where I draw the line. Not every game needs to be easy. Not every player needs to win. That's not how life works, and it's certainly not how gaming should work. Then there's obsession with trend chasing. Every bloody game these days wants to be a live service, a battle royale, or a hybrid of both. Why? Because that's where money is. Forget innovation, forget originality, just copy whatever's popular and hope it sticks. And if it don't, who cares? Shut it down, move on, and milk the next trend dry. It's soulless, it's lazy, and it's destroying diversity that once made gaming great. But perhaps most infuriating part of all this is our industry panders to outrage culture. Oh, you've got people complaining about something being problematic? Better rewrite script. Better censor dialogue. Better cut that feature. It's not about making a better game, it's about avoiding bad press. Irony, of course, is that no matter how much they bend over backwards to appease these people, it's never enough. There'll always be something to complain about, and in chasing their approval, developers are sacrificing creative freedom that make gaming such a unique medium in first place. And let's not pretend this is what majority of players actually want. Most of us don't give a toss about political correctness or whether a game offends someone's delicate sensibilities. We want games that actually challenge us, entertain us, and push boundaries. We want creativity, passion, and vision, not cookie-cutter designs built by a committee to avoid upsetting anyone. Truth is, gaming don't need to appeal to everyone. Not every game has to be for every person. Some games should be hard. Some should be controversial. Some should make you think. And some should just be pure chaotic fun. That's beauty at medium. It can be all. But if we keep going down this path of sanitisation and homogenisation, all we'll be left with are bland, soulless products that no one remembers 5 minutes after playing them. So what's the answer? Simple. Developers need to grow a pair. Stop pandering. Stop trend chasing. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Make games with vision, a voice, a backbone. Will it upset some people? Probably. But you know what? That's fine. Art's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to provoke. If you're not pissing someone off, you're probably not doing it right. Let's light up next group on chopping block. Gaming media and influencers. These lot are dodgy car salesmen at Gaming World, smiling in your face while flogging you a lemon. They'll do whatever it takes to keep clicks rolling in, even if it means selling the credibility down river faster than EA pumps out FIFA titles. Let's start with gaming journalists. And I use the term journalist very loosely here, because most of them couldn't investigate their way out of a wet paper bag. These days, it's not about honest reviews, deep dives, or celebrating what makes gaming great. Nah, it's about chasing outrage and jumping on whatever bandwagon will generate most traffic. Did a developer make a slightly risque joke in a game? Cute 1,500 word think piece about why gaming is a problematic culture? Did a studio dare to include difficulty options that don't cater to everyone? Bring out pitchforks and call for reform. Then there's issue of paid reviews. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. How many times have we seen a game hyped at moon and back by gaming press, only for it to launch as a buggy unfinished mess? Cyberpunk 2077 ring any bells? Oh, it's next revolution in gaming! Yeah, revolution my ass. It were a revolution in how quickly you can refund something on Steam. But did media call it out before launch? Of course not. They were too busy cashing in on hype. And then we got influencers. Don't get me wrong, there are some decent ones out there. But for every genuine creator, there are 10 sellouts hawking whatever garbage pays them most. These are people who'll tell you the game's amazing, fun, and worth every penny, right up until sponsorship check clears. Then they're on to the next thing, leaving their audience stuck with a 60 quid turd and a bad taste in their mouths. But worst offenders? Ones who stir pot for clicks. You've seen them. They'll take a non-issue, some out-of-context tweet, a minor bug, or a controversial in-game line, and blow it up into full-blown scandal. This game is ruined cause insert trivial issue here. They're not helping anyone. They're just feeding outrage machine. And sad part, it works. People lap it up cause negativity sells, and these influencers know it. And let's not ignore how these people shape industry. Publishers and developers are terrified of bad press, so they bend over backwards to avoid it. They'll delay features, censor content, or even scrap entire projects if they think it'll keep media and influencers happy. It's like tail is wagging dog, and we, players, are ones who lose out. Gaming media should be holding industry accountable, not acting as its PR department. Influencers should be advocating for their audience, not using them as cash cows. But that's not going to happen as long as clicks keep coming and sponsorships keep rolling in. So what's the solution? Stop giving these people your time, your clicks, and your money. Find creators and outlets that are honest, transparent, and actually gear toss about gaming community. Call out ones who are taking piss. Because only way we're going to fix this mess is by demanding better from media, from influencers, and from industry itself. Now it's time for a proper hammer blow. Absolute creative bankruptcy in modern gaming. Let's be honest, industry has gone from being a fountain of innovation to a bloody photocopier, churning out same tired ideas over and over again. What were once about pushing boundaries and trying new things has devolved into a rinse and repeat cycle of recycled mechanics, reskinned assets, and lifeless cash grabs. Take open world games, for example. Remember when open worlds were actually exciting? When they felt alive, immersive, and worth exploring? Now it's the same formula every time. Climb a tower, unlock a chunk of map, rinse, repeat. Built world with meaningless collectibles, repetitive side missions, and NPCs who've got personality at a soggy digestive biscuit. And boom! You got yourself a blockbuster. It's not innovation, it's a bloody template. Or how about live service games? Oh, promises they make. It's not just a game, it's a platform. An evolving world with constant updates. Except what you actually get is bare bones launch, a roadmap full of vague promises, and a game that don't feel complete until 2 years and 14 battle passes later. By the time it's actually worth playing, everyone's already moved on, and devs are scrambling to keep servers alive. And let's not ignore indie scene, which, ironically, is often just as guilty. Sure, there's gems, absolute masterpieces with passion and creativity, but for every Hades or Hollow Knight, there's a dozen asset-flipped survival games, uninspired roguelikes, and pixel-art platformers that all blend into one. Indie scene was supposed to be antidote to corporate gaming, but even that's become oversaturated with same ideas repeated ad nauseum. Worst part? Industry don't even have to try anymore cause we've set bar so bloody low. They slap innovative on marketing material and we believe it, even though a game is basically the same thing we've played 100 times before. And don't get me started on sequels. Most of them are just glorified DLCs with a shiny new price tag. Oh, but we added new mechanics. Oh, you mean that thing you nicked from another game 3 years ago? Groundbreaking stuff, lads. You know why this is happening, right? Cause taking risks don't pay. Why spend time and money on something new and bold when you can pump out a formulaic product that's guaranteed to sell? Industry's become a machine, grinding out safe ideas cause only thing publishers care about is bottom line. Creativity don't fit into that equation, so it gets left behind. And result? Games that feel hollow, games that feel lifeless, mechanics that feel tired. It's all so bland. Gaming used to be about surprise, wonder, and excitement. Now it's about ticking boxes, meeting quotas, and squeezing every last penny out at player base. And it's thing, don't have to be this way. There's still room for innovation. There are still developers out there who want to push envelope, who want to create something truly unique, but they need our support. They need us to demand better, to stop settling for mediocrity, and to put our money where our mouths are. So here's my challenge to you. Next time you see a game that's just same old crap with a new coat of paint, don't buy it. Save your money for ones that actually try to do something different. Because if we keep rewarding lazy design and uninspired mechanics, that's all we're ever going to get. And with that, I'll leave you with this thought. Gaming can be great again, but it's going to take all of us to make it happen. So let's stop being passive consumers and start being active participants in future of this industry. Before you run off to shout at a lobby full of 12-year-olds or uninstall yet another disappointing live service game, don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave your thoughts and comments below. Got a question or something that grinds your gears? Drop it down there. Might just feature it in a future video. And don't forget to check out links in the description for memberships, my Discord and all other nonsense. You've been amazing as always. Keep fighting good fight and I'll see you next time, you magnificent.